Timothy Ray Brown, known as the Berlin patient, cured of HIV and cancer. Brown was diagnosed with HIV in 1995 and then later leukemia. He was cured in 2007 when he received 2 stem cell transplants in Germany. According to Bahar Gulliver from LiveScience.com, written in September 2014, imagine being sick for 12 years and finally getting the treatment needed in order to live. In March 2009, former President Barack Obama overturned the Bush-era policy on stem cell research and started funding it once again, according to Judy Rovner and Jenny Gold from National Public Radio, written on March 9, 2009. With this current stance of the government funding on stem cell research, my partner Sydney and I pushed for more federal funds on the stem cell research. First, I will be talking about the funding stem cell research is receiving. Second, its medical benefits. And third, medical discoveries. To begin, stem cell funding after former President Obama has not been the same from when it was first regulated. According to David Gorin in National Public Radio, written in January 2018, 2004. In 2004, $3 billion was given to stem cell research before former President Bush had stopped the funding. And when Obama started funding it once again, only $1.5 billion was given, limiting its research and resources. Limiting its research and resources puts a strain on patients who are sick. Ian Mardigan from ExploreStemCells.com, written in March 2018, states that stem cells have enormous potential in health and medical research. Stem cell therapy is the application of stem cells, which are cells taken from adult or embryonic tissue that is used to form cells and tissues for medical therapies. One of its benefits is treatment for cancer. There are 2 types, and they're called autologous and allogenic. According to Kay Sullivan and colleagues from Autologous and Allogenic Stem Cell Transplantation, published in 2012. Autologous cells are cells that come from the same person who will get the transplant. And allogenic cells are cells that come from a matched related or unrelated donor. The most success is from allogenic transplants. According to Teresa Hahn and colleagues from Roswell Park Cancer Institute, written May 28, 2013, survival rates have increased significantly among patients who've received blood stem cell transplants from both related and unrelated donors. The survival rate starting at 48%, increasing to 63%. But if it were given more funding, autologous treatments would work significantly with the patient's body, giving them more of a survival rate since it's coming from their own system. With its significant benefits to people's health, it also has a huge potential to medical discoveries or researches. Not too long ago, in 2016, scientists in Japan successfully birthed a mice from egg, created from its parent skin cells, according to Kelly Murray from CNN.com, written in May 2017. With this successful finding, this could be one day applied to humans. Some couples out there cannot have children, and there are women who have complications with pregnancies. They either are not able to give birth because it could cause harm to their bodies, or just have a problem with trying to conceive. According to Catherine Ellison and Nina Martin from Publica.org, written in December 2017, severe complications for women during children are skyrocketing. And some women are also not comfortable with the idea of a surrogate. With this finding, it could change everything for families, women, and medical research.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the Peanut Gallery, Speaker of the House. I'd like to thank the affirmative for showing up, and Vince with the negative for being here. Thank you all. I'd like to start off with the affirmative had mentioned that 2 stem cell treatments had cured someone of HIV back in 2009. We would like to know what these treatments consisted of, what other procedures were administered to this patient to have recovered, and based on what information proves that they had miraculously cured from HIV. Next thing, we understand that your stance here this morning is that you are pushing for more federal funding. Please define pushing and how much more federal funding you would like. Now, stem cell research, a lot of false promises, a lot of funding going into it, and very little yield from these results. So you had the affirmative had mentioned that they had, what was it, 48% gone to 63% in curing treatments for cancer patients. That's not as significant. Another thing, $3 billion were passed on in 2009 by President Barack Obama. Well, that's interesting because there was a ruling.
Thank you. You can get into that in your construction. Okay. All right, time begins for your construct.
People from all around the world are trying to find cures to diseases with a variety of ways. One being stem cell research. It's a type of research that costs billions of dollars through private and public funding. According to Cade Hildreth of bioinformant.com, September 20th, 2016, $1.495 billion of taxpayer dollars went into stem cell research through the National Institute of Health. Our economy is in a very rough shape, and the American people have a hard enough time paying their taxes as it is. We need to start focusing on lowering the national debt and start working on the nation's infrastructure. The risks are unknown, and also, stem cell research is not FDA approved. Why should the government fund a non-FDA approved research? According to Donald Gorn of NPR.org, April 30th, 2018. The government should not fund stem cell research and instead use the money towards important things like education or public safety or infrastructure. Now, the negative will be pushing to restrict increasing government funding. The reasons being, the costs are very high. Second, it's unethical and immoral. And third, it violates the Dickey-Wicker Amendment. Start off the cost. The cost per treat, according to Professor Knopfler of Genetics and Society.org, February 22nd, 2015, American clinics charge approximately $10,000 per treatment. Whether inside or outside the US, insurance does not cover the cost of these potentially dangerous, unproven, non-FDA approved treatments. I want to touch on the stem cell research is unethical and immoral because the fertilized eggs must be destroyed in order to extract the stem cells. Conservatives and some theologians, especially Catholics, believe that therapeutic cloning, stem cell research, and even embryonic stem cell lab testing involve the fact that embryos are already human beings. And if destroyed during experimentation, then it means killing a life. Another counter-argument is that the anti-embryonic stem cell organizations are highly concerned that This research may lead to cloning or manufacturing a whole human in a lab as opposed to being naturally born. According to Professor Irving Wiseman of Stanford University, September 20th, 2015. Now, third, the embryonic stem cell research is in clear violation of the Dickey-Wicker Amendment, which was first passed by Congress in 1995, which outlawed the use of taxpayer funds to carry out any research in which a human embryo or embryos are destroyed. According to Judge Lamberth, the Dickey-Wicker Amendment is unambiguous. It prohibits research in which a human embryo is destroyed, discarded, or knowingly subject to risk of injury or death greater than the allowed under applicable regulations. The guidelines violate the prohibition by allowing federal funding of embryonic stem cell research because embryonic stem cell research depends upon the destruction of a human embryo.
Thank you.
As for the questions from the cross-examination that the negative side had asked us. So for the stem cell treatment that Timothy had received it cured him, it was for his cancer, he had leukemia, and it had cured him of his HIV after they had done the stem cell transplant. And they had to do that in Germany because it was not funded, it was not given enough funds here in America. So this is why we push for more federal funds, because with this type of experiments and treatments, we could be able to save more than just HIV and cancer. As for pushing more funding and how much, well, we want to go back to the same funding as it was given $3 billion before, and now it's only $1.5 billion. That's half of it. So we want to go back to $3 billion. So we push for more. As for the treatments it wasn't for curing treatments for the 48 to 63%. It was the survival rates had increased. And I believe that is very high, meaning that's a good percentage of survival rates than it was before. Starting at 48%, now it's at 63%. And for the $3 billion, Barack Obama did not give us a $3 billion. It was before It was given before Bush had gone into presidency, and he stopped the funding. So now Barack Obama has given us $1.5 billion. And as for questions for the negative, you say that the economy is in a rough shape, so I just want to clarify what you mean by that. And for how to shape the nation structure, how would we shape the nation structure?
Thank you.
Hello. As my partner previously stated, we are pushing against the adding to the federal funding for stem cell research. And as previously stated, she said, I believe, she said 1.4 billion? No, that's not true. As a matter of fact, we have from Fawcett in 2008 from bioethics.net is actually up to 1.5 billion. And on this website, it says that they have done, let's see here, they have created limbs, organs, and they can be fully grown from a lab using stem cells. So I don't see why we would need any more funding than the ones that we already have. It's doing just fine right now if we even need it at all. And secondly, I'm going to be talking about the wrong hands. Because frankly, I'm quite scared of what stem cells can do in the wrong hands. In an article from ipcell.com in 2012, essentially, I found a website where you can buy stem cells. Just buy, it's not illegal to buy stem cells, and therefore, like people can just do their own experiments, but very ethically wrong. Do not experiment with stem cells. According to this, the same way there's a black market for body parts, there's a black market for stem cells. Obviously not, since I found a website, https astartbio.com. You can buy a stem cell for maybe $170. The tagline is literally, "Want to buy a stem cell? I've got one for you here, cheap." It's crazy. Next, I'll be. Next, I'll be talking about the actual benefits it has to humanity. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Stem cells, although yes, they can make organs and they can make these, I guess, limbs. They're, according to explorestemcells.uk, organs created in a lab are not actually functioning for, they cannot actually function for a human being. They haven't made enough alright, next topic. Sorry about that, guys. Animal testing. This, I'm sure a lot of you are very against. I saw a lot of articles saying that stem cell could be the alternative to animal testing, but the case is they already are testing on animals with stem cells in really messed up ways. Here, Dolly was a clone born to live out of 277 cloned embryos. Out of 207, this is from genome.gov. Out of 277 cloned embryos, one survived, and even then, it was in critical condition from after the first few months. Researchers observed that some adverse health effects in the sheep, other than the mammals, have been cloned. These included a burst size and variety of defects in the vital organs, such as in the liver, brain, and heart. Other consequences include premature aging and problems with the immune system. Reproductive cloning is very inefficient a technique, and most cloned embryos can't develop into healthy individuals. So it's really just kind of sad to see these animals being tested on and then having almost zero results. It's heartbreaking.
All right, your time again.
To start off, Alexia didn't say 1.4 billion in funding. We said 1.5 billion in funding that we wanted. In order to stop animal testing, we need to start from somewhere important. We have made the progress that has been made has been stated by the American Chemical Society, and they have said that animal testing could go down by 30%. We're not here to buy stem cells. We're here to get them illegally. We could go through legal actions to get to that standpoint. Who said, we want to clarify, who said that we were going to buy them illegally? Of course, course, there's legal actions to get stem cells because they could help animal testing. The American Chemical Society in 2016 states that 67% of animals are used for animal testing. These animals suffer every day, being poked and prodded with diseases such as Parkinson's. These give researchers a concept to work with. First, I'm going to go through animal testing and cloning, and second, I'm going to speak about organ cloning.
All right, your constructor begin.
Stem cells could eventually replace animal testing and drug development. According to Sinober in May 2017, stem cells could eventually replace animal testing. Now we can order a rat or a dog with any type of disease. With human stem cells, we can get close to stopping animal testing. These normal cells can create a differentiation between the cells in animals than in humans. As for the human benefit, the number of people waiting for organ transplants is much higher than the number of available organs, according to explorestemcells.co.uk in 2016. Another potential application is to form cells and tissues for medical therapies. It is currently donated organs and tissues are substituted for damaged or dysfunctional ones. Stem cells can offer a viable source of replacement cells to treat diseases and can potentially reduce the morbidity and mortality for those awaiting transplants. According to Calisto and Platt in March 2006, from the National Medical Society, stem cell organ transplants could be the future. Stem cells have the capacity to proliferate and to differentiate into relatively mature cells of various types. Embryonic stem cells can become any organ in the body and can do so when implemented. To discuss embryonic stem cells, first, those stem cells and those lines are completely different from the person being treated and how they are used. The use of tissues and organs derived from these cells can require some differentiation. This problem can potentially be solved by cloning. The greater limitation of using embryonic stem cells or stem cells generated by nuclear cloning is that while those stem cells can be grown into differentiated cells and tissues, no means are known by which of these cells can be coaxed from the organ outside of the embryo. According to bio.org, the value of therapeutic cloning for patients in September of 2016, human organ cloning can offer hope for transplants. A February 2012 report from the National Academics of Science concluded that therapeutic cloning has a sufficient scientific potential that it should be allowed to continue. Therapeutic cloning would allow individuals' own cells to be used to treat or cure that person's disease without risk of introducing foreign cells that may be rejected. With that, cloning is vital to realizing the potential of stem cell research and moving it from the lab to the doctor's office. Cloning human organs could definitely help someone in a time of need if they're suffering from a life-threatening disease or a heart attack or something such as that. These techniques are important to the production of breakthrough medicines, diagnostics, and vaccines to treat many diseases. They could also produce replacement skin, cartilage, bone tissue from burn or accident victims as a result in ways to get this tissue back. The National benefits of stem cells are important to our society because we can create these new cells to help out people in need.
All right,
and
thank you very much. And the negative, your 2 minutes starts.
First, I'd like to state, we did not state that the affirmative will be purchasing illegal stem cells illegally. We just stated that there is a black market to conduct underground research. That is purely what we stated. We never said you or anyone in this room would ever illegally buy stem cells, but we are stating that there's a very big possibility that there are some underground stem cell, there is some stem cell research going underground. And not everyone's gonna follow the law. We all know this. We all know if there's some person with a dream, they're gonna follow it. If it involves stem cells, maybe they're gonna try to do their own stuff. Or sorry, that sounds professional. They're gonna try to conduct their own experiments, trying to be the next billionaire, and it can go wrong. It's not government sanctioned, so they can just buy it. And then let's see. Next, you said earlier that stem cell research could be the stem cell research is supposed to be the or could be the counter to animal testing, that they wouldn't be poked and prodded. But I'd like to see some sources of that. I'd like to see some, or hear. So I didn't hear any sources saying that they aren't mistreated in any way during stem cell research. Because I looked everywhere and I didn't see that animals are safe during stem cell research. And you said we can get close to stopping animal testing. I would like you to, if you could ever, go deeper into that, because getting close doesn't necessarily you can get close like an inch or a foot. You never said like anything like on that subject. Also, we have sources saying you were talking about
All right,
organs.
thank you.
Okay.
3 minutes begins for your summary. Negative first.
Negative source.
But I like enthusiasm.
So this morning, the affirmative speaks of ifs, ands, and buts. Nothing with certainty. Nothing to show us that the funding provided by the federal government and state government is actually making progress. Sure, there's some progress, but not enough progress. Not enough to increase the funding as the affirmative is trying to push for here this morning. We still stand strong behind our statement that we will not be pushing, that we will be pushing to restrict increasing government funding. And as we had mentioned earlier, the costs are very high. Insurance is not going to cover it. The minimum treatment is about $10,000. The average American citizen does not have disposable $10,000 into a potential treatment. That's one. The unethical and immoralities of the issue. Many see it as playing God, or others see it as disposing of a human being. Third is that the embryonic stem cell research violated the Dickey-Wicker Amendment, which has its guidelines, and they were broken by the researchers. So this morning, as you can tell, those are our 3 points, and I hope that you all can stand strong with the negative in support of our statements.
Oh, never mind. Can't clap yet. Still got 30 seconds.
So that is why the negative is pushing for you to favor the negative. Thank you.
Well, the negative talks about religion, and I just wanted to say that we, as something that's especially with the government, I don't see how religion and like especially moral values and everything should be brought into this. So with the arguments that the negative side has brought up, we see and understand what you're saying. However, given the facts that we have provided, my partner and I have provided in this debate, we believe that stem cell research should receive more funding by the government. Especially with its budgets of only half the worth it was actually given in the beginning, which was $3 billion brought down to $1.5 billion, according to David Gorn in the National Public Radio in January 2018. And we live in an age where there is technology everywhere, and new things are being discovered. And it's only the beginning with stem cell research and therapy. Imagine the possibilities if it were to be fully accessed.
Ian Murnigan from ExploreStemCells.com, written in March 2018, states that stem cells have enormous potential in health and medical research. As we stated today, all in all, we have discussed its medical benefits, medical discoveries, and its possibilities. We once again say we push for more funding. Like Ralph Emerson once said, all life is an experiment, and the more experience you make, the better.
All right, thank you.